Hi everyone, welcome to the session. In this session, we will be discussing about Terraform. So, let's get started. So, in the previous session, we had the discussion regarding the infrastructure as a code. So we discussed that what is IAC and why it is important, why the companies are shifting towards the infrastructure as a code. So these things we have discussed, and we have seen a couple of examples like what type of IAC options are available for the companies. So we have discussed about Terraform, Biceps, ARM templates, then OpenTofu, TerraGrunt. We have seen a lot of examples, but our focus would be on the Terraform as a IAC tool, because Terraform is the number one IAC platform which is used across the organization. So the demand of the Terraform is very high. It is used in almost every organization. So you should definitely learn the Terraform in order to scale in the cloud or DevOps industry. Without Terraform, there will be the opportunities that you can miss in the market. So Terraform should be your ready to go tool in terms of IAC. So let's focus what is Terraform. So as we know, Terraform is infrastructure as a code tool, IAC tool है ये. And through this, we can we can create our infrastructure using the code. Now, before we jump to the Terraform, so there is one important site which you should always remember, which is registry.terraform.io. You will need this site a lot of time during the Terraform journey. So you should remember this registry.terraform.io. This is very helpful throughout your Terraform journey. So if I search here, what is Terraform in my browser? So there will be one official link of the Terraform, which is developer.hashicorp.com. You also need to remember this URL because this is also equally important in your Terraform journey. Because you all know that I don't stress on cramming up any topic. I believe in learning through the practice and through the concept. So you definitely need to know these sites in order to learn something. That would be great. Don't try to cram up each and every detail because you won't be able to retain the information. So if you go to this link, the developer.hashicorp.com, and if you open what is Terraform, so here you will see the official definition provided by the HashiCorp. So HashiCorp is the company which has developed the Terraform. HashiCorp is the main company of the Terraform. This is something we had discussed in our last video as well. HashiCorp ने ही Terraform tool को develop किया है. And now it is under the undertaking of IBM. So see, so HashiCorp Terraform is an infrastructure as a code tool. जैसे मैंने बताया था, it is one of the IAC tool that helps you to define both cloud and on-premises resources in human readable configuration files. So it helps you to create your infrastructure. By infrastructure, I mean the servers, the load balancers, storages, drives, the complete data center, I would say. And that is not only limited to the cloud. You can also use the Terraform to create the on-premises infrastructure as well. So for the on-premises provisioning also, the Terraform helps us. If you want to manage your network appliances, network devices, you can also leverage the Terraform. तो network devices manage करने में भी Terraform हमारी help करता है. And the language which is used in the Terraform is HCL, which is HashiCorp Configuration Language. So HashiCorp Configuration Language is one of the human readable language. If someone understands English, if you know the English language, you will be able to deal with the HCL language as well. There are some syntax that you will master after certain practice, but HCL language is easily readable. इसको easily read किया जा सकता है. It is human readable language. So the person who is not into the programming, they will also be able to understand this language very well. And that is the reason Terraform is one of the famous tool, because it does not require any programming language understanding. If you want to learn the Terraform, if you want to implement the Terraform in your organization, then you don't have to be the programmer. Just like in other languages, you need to know the syntax, the basics of programming. Just like for ARM templates, you must have some programming background. Not very much, but some sort of programming background you must have. But here, in order to learn the Terraform, you don't necessarily need any programming background. So it has been designed in order to keep in mind that system administrators who wants to manage the IAC environment in future, they should also be able to use the Terraform. तो ये उसी को ध्यान में रख के बनाया गया था, because most of the people who are managing the infrastructure as a system administrators, they are not programming proficient guys. They don't understand much programming. So because they have very great skills to manage the infrastructure, उनका experience है infrastructure manage करने में, they have got that level of skills in their tenure. So if they want to understand the Terraform, because nowadays the infrastructure is being managed by the Terraform, it is being deployed by the Terraform. So if they want to know the Terraform, then the idea was they should also be able to understand it. They should also be able to implement it. And that is why Terraform was written in the HCL language. इसी वजह से Terraform HCL में लिखा गया था, which is HashiCorp configuration language, and it is human readable language. So anyone can understand this. Anyone can use this. So it is not very difficult to learn. Terraform is very easy to learn and implement with the right practice. तो कोई मुश्किल नहीं है Terraform को सीखना. And in company, we don't hire any separate developer to manage the Terraform. The cloud guys, the DevOps guys, these people will be managing the Terraform itself. So cloud, जो cloud engineers है, चाहे वो किसी भी cloud के engineer हो, it can be Azure, it can be GCP, it can be AWS, or the person who are working in the DevOps, they must know the Terraform. आप कोई भी job description उठा के देखो, in the cloud and in the DevOps, Terraform will always be there. So it is one of the IAC tool, as I told you. It is written in the HCL language, and it helps you to create your infrastructure, manage your infrastructure. ये आपको IT infrastructure create और manage करने में help करता है using the code, using the infrastructure as a code. And it supports on-premises and cloud infrastructure both. So you can just go through with this. And if we scroll down, there is one video also provided by the HashiCorp. So you can also refer this one in case you want to. Now, the next thing which is very important and you need to know is, how does Terraform work? Terraform काम करता कैसे है? If I want to use the Terraform in my organization, how I can use it? So that is the next question. So see, when you want to use the Terraform, so if you want to, let's say, create one of the virtual machine in Azure using the Terraform, suppose this is your goal. I'm just taking one simple example here. Suppose you want to create one single virtual machine in Azure using the Terraform. So how does it work? So the very first thing is, you need to use the Terraform in your laptop. You need to install it. There will be setup of Terraform that you can install in your laptop, which I will show you practically. So you need to install the Terraform into your laptop, into your device. You need to configure that. And after that, you need to set up the provider. You need to set up the Terraform provider. Whatever you want to create using the Terraform, you have to set up the Terraform provider. Suppose मेरे को Azure में virtual machine create करनी है. I want to create virtual machine on the Azure platform. Then I need to set up the Azure Terraform provider. If I want to create the EC2 instance, which is again the server in AWS, then I need the AWS provider. So if using the Terraform, you want to create something in the cloud, Terraform यूज करके अगर आपको क्लाउड में कुछ क्रिएट करना है, देन यू नीड दैट पर्टिकुलर प्रोवाइडर, यू नीड दैट Terraform प्रोवाइडर. आपको उस क्लाउड के प्रोवाइडर की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी. सो Terraform विल एक्चुअली कॉल टू दैट प्रोवाइडर. जिस जिस क्लाउड प्लेटफॉर्म में, whether it is Azure, whether it is AWS, whether it is GCP, जिस क्लाउड प्रोवाइडर में आपको इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डिप्लॉय करना है. सपोज आई वांट टू क्रिएट वन ऑफ द VM रिसोर्स, मुझे एक वर्चुअल मशीन डिप्लॉय करनी है एज पार्ट ऑफ माय इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर, देन if it is on Azure platform, then I need the Azure provider. So providers are the platforms the cloud platforms where you want to deploy your resources. जिस cloud platform पे आप resource deploy करना चाहते हो, that is your provider. So your Terraform application from your laptop will make the call to the Terraform provider. वो Terraform provider को call करेगा using the API. API means application programming interface. Means from my laptop, there will be one API call to the right provider where I want to create the resource. So the hierarchy would be from my laptop or from my device, there will be API call to the provider. Provider can be your AWS, Azure, जो भी आप cloud provider use कर रहे हो in order to create the resource. So the system will make an API call to that provider, and after that, that provider will create the resource in your cloud. वो आपके cloud portal में वो resource create कर देगा. So this is how the Terraform workflow is. So you must remember this workflow in order to start with the Terraform. Now, if you want to use the Terraform, so because Terraform, I told you it is one of the application. So there are some additions available. Terraform have certain additions. So in market, you will have the community edition of Terraform. Community edition available है Terraform का, which is the first edition, and it is free of cost. ये फ्री में अवेलेबल है. You can easily go and download the Terraform community edition from the internet, from their official site. You can install it into your laptop and you can configure it, and then you can start using the Terraform. So it is used in the small organization. छोटी कंपनियों में आपको कम्युनिटी एडिशन देखने को मिलेगा, where the infrastructure is not that much big, and support plans are generally not available with the community edition. Community support will be available, and any student who wants to learn the Terraform, who are in the learning stage, they also use the community edition. वो भी community edition ही use करते हैं. Second edition is the HCP Terraform. But before this, I want to discuss about enterprise. So second edition would be Terraform Enterprise. Terraform Enterprise is also one of the application, and it is used in the big organizations, mid to big size organization. You will see the Terraform Enterprise. Here the support is available. Enterprise supports will be available, and it is not free. Here you have to pay the license cost and the support charges also. So in organization, you will see this edition. So these two, like the community one and the enterprise, these two editions are self-hosted. These two are the self-hosted. By self-hosted, I mean that you need to install their setups into your laptop. You need to configure the Terraform infrastructure, and you need to manage them. If any issue comes in the Terraform, you will have to troubleshoot that. Security will be your priority. You have to make sure that your secrets are very much secure into the Terraform. If you have saved any password, that has to be saved inside the Terraform. That is your responsibility. Access controls will be your responsibility if you are using the self-hosted Terraform, like community or enterprise. So यहाँ पे application installation आप खुद करोगे inside your device. The configuration will be your part. Management will be your part. If any issue comes, troubleshooting will be your part, and security will be your part. So it is totally self-hosted. ये self-hosted है. But in case you don't want to go with the self-hosted Terraform like community or enterprise, then we can use the HCP Terraform. Then we can plan for the HCP Terraform. So HCP Terraform is one of the SaaS application. It is like cloud. It will be managed by the cloud. By cloud, I mean that it will be managed by the HashiCorp, because Terraform is the product of HashiCorp organization. So HashiCorp will be managing the Terraform. Terraform को HashiCorp manage करेगा, means they will offer you one of the SaaS application. SaaS application means the Terraform setup will be hosted in the HashiCorp environment, just like we do in the cloud. If we use Azure, then the Azure infrastructure is managed by the Microsoft. If we use AWS, then it is managed by the Amazon company. So similarly, if we use the HCP Terraform, then environment will be managed by the HashiCorp. So it will offer us in the form of SaaS application, software as a service. They will provide us one of the portal. You don't need to install the Terraform application into your laptops. So they will give you the portal. You have to create the user ID and passwords on that portal, and you will manage all the deployments through that portal. आप उस पोर्टल के थ्रू सारे डिप्लॉयमेंट्स मैनेज करोगे. You don't have to store any code in your local laptop. But if we use the community edition and enterprise edition, then we have to store the code in our local laptop. फिर हमें कोड अपने लोकल लैपटॉप में रखना पड़ता है. उसकी सिक्योरिटी, उसकी ट्रबल शूटिंग्स, उसका मैनेजमेंट, दैट विल बी अंडर अवर कंट्रोल. But if we use the HCP Terraform portal, then we can keep the code into their portal. The patching, the maintenance, manageability will be the responsibility of HashiCorp. We don't have to worry about the maintenance part of it. So HashiCorp Terraform is also used in the organization which does not want to take the headache of managing the Terraform infrastructure locally. They don't want to self-host it. They don't want to handle the code part themselves. So I will teach you both. I will teach you Terraform self-hosted infrastructure as well. Means we will use the community edition. We will not use the enterprise edition because enterprise editions are paid. But community and enterprise both are same in terms of working. So don't assume that if you know the community edition, you will not be able to work in the enterprise. No, community and enterprise editions are same. The only difference is in the enterprise edition, there will be license support, there will be support plans available, and it supports multiple infrastructure. But in community, there will be limit, and it does not have the good support plan. It will only have the community support plans. So that is the only difference. The syntax, the working mechanism, everything is going to remain same in community and enterprise. So we will be using the community edition so that you can also use it. It is free of cost. Once we are done with the Terraform self-hosted infrastructure, then I will also show you practically how to use the HCP Terraform, how we can leverage the SaaS application of the Terraform, because in some companies, this is also being used. So we should know both in order to be eligible to get the opportunities, the jobs in the market. And if someone is already working on the company, let's say someone is already a cloud engineer, but wants to understand the Terraform, they should also know both. And even if someone is already working on the Terraform, they will get a lot of advantages through these videos. They will be able to get the deep insights into the Terraform. So you must remember Terraform, IAC examples, IAC advantages, then Terraform editions, because this is our core focus. And how does Terraform work? So this is something you need to remember before jumping to the practicals. Now, as I told you, this site is very much important, registry.terraform.io. So if you go to this site, registry.terraform.io, so this is the home screen of this particular site. It will look like this. Here you can see Terraform registry. So as I told you, Terraform can work with multiple providers. Terraform कई सारे providers को support करता है. But किन किन को करता है? What kind of providers it supports. So if you go to registry.terraform.io site, here there will be one option, browse providers. If you go to browse providers option, then you will be able to see the details of each and every providers along with the documents to whom Terraform supports. Terraform जिन जिन को सपोर्ट करता है आपको सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्स यहाँ पे दिखेंगे. फॉर एग्जांपल Terraform supports AWS, Azure, GCP, Kubernetes, Alibaba Cloud, Oracle Cloud. So you can see a lot. See, if you scroll down, you will see a lot. See, the result is around 7,061. So there are multiple pages. Ansible is also supported. So you can just go through with this. You don't need to remember each and every name. ये सब याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. And time to time the providers also gets edit. Providers की list बढ़ती जाती है because they continuously work on uh, implementing the new APIs. So providers की list बढ़ती जाती है. So you can assume that you can use it with almost every cloud providers. So अगर आपको Terraform आता है, if you know the Terraform, you will be able to implement it with the Azure, you will be able to implement it with the AWS, you will be able to implement it with the GCP. ऐसा नहीं है कि if you know the Terraform this time on Azure platform, because I will focus on the Azure infrastructure with the Terraform. So this is not something that if you know the Azure management using the Terraform, then you will not be able to manage the AWS or GCP. No, if you know how to work with the Terraform on one provider, you will be able to manage another providers as well. आपको Terraform अलग अलग प्लेटफॉर्म पे सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है. That today you will learn it on Azure, tomorrow you will learn it on AWS. No, just master one cloud. एक cloud अगर आपको आता है, learn the Terraform on top of that cloud. Then if you need to use it on another cloud platform, you will be able to use it. Everything will be same. And you don't need any programming. Again, I am telling you, you don't have to be from the programming background in order to learn the Terraform. I will teach you in such a way that you will be able to master the Terraform. And we will follow the industry practices only. So our plan would be to know the landing zone creations, the reusable modules creation, these all things which is used in the company, along with the troubleshootings like drip detection, resource module definition, workspaces. So we will learn about all these things. Then we will move to the HCP Terraform, the SaaS provider. So ये सब हमारा plan है. And if you will master all the videos, then no one can stop you to get the job if they are asking about the Terraform as a skill. So these are the providers which you need to know. कि Terraform कौन कौन से provider को support करता है. So you can just go through with this. In our case, we will be focusing on Azure. So if I click on the Azure provider, here you will get all the detail. So the name of Azure provider is Azure RM. Azure के provider का नाम क्या है? Azure RM. RM means resource manager. This is the name. And the provider version is 5.1.0, which is the latest version. ये सब हम practically discuss करेंगे. अभी बस मैं आपको बता रहा हूँ. I'm just telling you all these stuffs. And these are the detail की Terraform कितने कितने download हुए हैं this week, this month, this year, and अभी तक it is in 1.8 billion for the Azure. ये Azure के provider इतने download हुए हैं. So once we will start the practical from the next video, you will get to know these things very easily. अभी तो हम फर्स्ट और सेकंड वीडियो में थ्योरी ही डिस्कस कर रहे हैं so that I can just create the foundation of yours. But now from the next video, we will actually use the Terraform. अब हम Terraform यूज करना स्टार्ट करेंगे. We will use this syntax. ये सब कमांड्स वगैरह हम यूज करेंगे, these codes and everything. If you are using AWS as a provider, if you click on this, then the AWS provider name is AWS only. AWS के provider का नाम AWS ही है. Azure provider name is Azure RM. And here the latest version is 6.60.0. So सबके versions अलग अलग होंगे. And you know, the best part about the Terraform is in their document, everything is included. If you want to learn the Terraform using their document, you can just click on their provider and there you will see all the documents. See, if you click on the documentation, sorry, documentation है, see, on the left side, guides are there and it is written in plain English. See, function, Azure Active Directory Management, Advisor Management, anything. And I will also show you how to use this documentation. क्योंकि हम documentation से ही पढ़ेंगे. I will not ask you to cram anything. रट्टे मारने के लिए मैं कुछ भी नहीं बोलूंगा. I will not be using the pre-written code during the lectures. ऐसा भी नहीं है कि मैं पहले से ही कोड लिख के लाऊंगा और उसी को यूज करके आपको वो कोड दे दूंगा डाउनलोड करने के लिए. No, that is not my goal. वरना मैं अपने काम को बहुत इजी बना सकता हूँ. आई कैन जस्ट हैव सम प्री रिटन कोड्स, मैं पहले से ही तैयार करके लाके डिप्लॉयमेंट दिखा के देन आई कैन गिव यू कॉपी पेस्टेड कोड एज वेल. फिर आप उसकी प्रैक्टिस कर सकते हो. बट दैट इज नॉट माई गोल, क्योंकि दिस इज नॉट समथिंग which will make us master. So we will be using this site. That is why I'm stressing on this site. इसी site को use करने वाले हैं हम. Suppose I want to create the virtual machine, so I will search the code of the virtual machine here. ये सब हम सर्च करेंगे यहाँ पे. Then I will show you how to use them. So you must have the habit to search the code, use it. So ये सब हम practically देखेंगे. अभी इन पे बात करने का कोई मतलब भी नहीं है. See, everything is here. You just need to know how to use this in the right way. You have to practice this one. आपको इसी साइट पे प्रैक्टिस करनी है. And Terraform have their certification. If you just see, if you just search Terraform certificates. So in their official site, you will see the certificate details. See, developer.hashicorp.com is their official site. If you just go here, so you will see what kind of certificates are available. So they have basically main three certificate. One is Terraform Certified Associate. This is what we are going to cover. ये हम पढ़ेंगे. This is for those people who wants to learn the Terraform, who wants to manage the infrastructure using the Terraform tool. तो ये उनके लिए जो टेराफॉर्म के थ्रू इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर मैनेज करना चाहते हैं. दे वांट टू लर्न द टेराफॉर्म एज ए इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर एज ए कोड. सो दिस वन सर्टिफिकेट इज इनफ. यही इकलौता सर्टिफिकेट है और यही इनफ है. सेकेंड सर्टिफिकेट इज फॉर द वॉल्ट. वॉल्ट इज वन ऑफ द प्रोफेशनल लेवल सर्टिफिकेशन. दिस इज एक्चुअली रिलेटेड टू सीक्रेट्स मैनेजमेंट. ये आईएसी के लिए नहीं है. दिस इज फॉर सीक्रेट्स मैनेजमेंट. लाइक कंपनी के जो सर्टिफिकेट्स होते हैं, यूजर नेम, पासवर्ड्स, दे आर सीक्रेट्स. सो इन ऑर्डर टू स्टोर देम, कंपनीज आर ऑल्सो यूजिंग द हैशिकॉप वॉल्ट. जैसे एज्योर में एक आता है अपना खुद का एज्योर की वॉल्ट सर्विस. सिमिलरली हैशिकॉप ऑल्सो हैव देयर वॉल्ट विच इज ऑल्सो फेमस. ये भी कंपनी यूज करती है. सो इफ समवन वांट्स टू नो हाउ टू यूज द वॉल्ट फॉर सीक्रेट्स मैनेजमेंट, then they go with this certification. वो इसके लिए जाते हैं. This is not your goal right now. ये security के लिए है. So you don't need to worry about this one. Then they have council product. Council product भी है उनके पास. This is also not your goal. Your goal is this one. And if someone ask me, is Terraform certificate important? I will say if you want to do it. But in case you don't have, it's not very much important. If you can invest in this certificate, very good. If not, then skill matters a lot than the certification. Skill matters a lot. So you must be master of using the Terraform. कर सकते हो, then definitely invest in this. It will be around, I think, 8 to 9,000 rupees in the Indian currency because it gets changed time to time. So if you want to see what is the current status, so if you go Terraform Associate and prepare for the exam, if you click on this, then it will show you the learning path. So this is their syllabus. क्या क्या होगा, कैसे होगा. So it will be objective type exam and it is very easy to crack. Easy है, इतना मुश्किल नहीं है Terraform का exam crack करना. Tutorials are available. If you click on the start button, then it will show you all the learning path, even the complete guide to learn the Terraform. ये सब कुछ, ये पूरी गाइड है. इससे आप पढ़ के, इसको पढ़ लोगे, अच्छे से इंप्लीमेंट कर लोगे, यू विल बी एबल टू क्रैक द Terraform एसोसिएट एग्जामिनेशन. सो नॉट टू डिफिकल्ट टू क्रैक. बहुत ज्यादा डिफिकल्ट एग्जाम नहीं है लाइक Terraform, लाइक Kubernetes. Kubernetes is the difficult exam to crack, but this one is not very difficult. Objective type exam है. Practical based exam होता है Kubernetes में. So if you want, you can prepare for this kind of examination. Vault is not for you, so you can ignore the vault. These are for security and these are professional level exams. तो अभी इसकी फिलहाल कोई requirement नहीं है. Our focus will be on the Terraform Certified Associate. HashiCorp Certified Terraform Associate. This is the name of certification. तो इसी को हम पढ़ेंगे, इसी के सिलेबस को हम कवर करेंगे एंड सम एडिशनल स्टेप्स आल्सो. सो you can just go through with this documentation, and from the next video we will create the Terraform infrastructure. हम पूरा Terraform का सेटअप करेंगे and we will talk about the Terraform workflow. Terraform के workflow को हम practically समझेंगे. We will set up the provider in the next video. पूरा lab setup करेंगे हम. So we will set up the provider, we will talk about the workflow, we will discuss about the configuration files, we will be discussing about the Terraform extensions, कौन कौन से extensions और modules हमें install करने हैं, and we will set up the authentication in the next video. ये authenticate कैसे करना है हमें provider के साथ, and we will see one practical. मतलब ये सारे ही practical है, this will not be the theory. Practical in the sense we will be deploying the resource. हम resource deployment करके देखेंगे using the code. कुछ भी बना के देखेंगे Azure पे. So these all thing will be our target for the next video. उसके बाद फिर next to next से हम अपने मेन रिसोर्सेज का डिप्लॉयमेंट्स देखेंगे along with the functions. जो भी हमारा सिलेबस है HashiCorp का, आप वो फॉलो कर लेना, and accordingly we will pursue the course. So now I can wrap up this session. I hope it will be a lot of theoretical discussion और आप लोगों को समझ में आया होगा. So hope you are enjoying the session, and see you in the next video with some fruitful outcomes. So thank you very much for your timing. Have a nice day. Bye.